A Tuesday edition of Pro Football Talk Live from the league meetings in Arizona rolls along. NBC Sports Radio, NBCSN. Hello again to our friends in the UK enjoying the program on Sky Sports USA. We always love a good story. And our next guest gave us one hell of a story. I have one request, though, John Dorsey, Browns GM. The next time you're going to make a big trade, do it during normal working hours, not at night, because during normal working hours, people aren't working.
How dare
They're
you?
visiting websites.
How dare you?
You break news in the middle of the night, nobody notices.
But that's a normal working hour for us, especially in free agency. Those things happen. If you can orchestrate a trade like that, those happens. Now, I think both sides benefited from this. Anytime, I always say that, you lay out all different types of scenarios, and very rarely does that 1% pan out. In this situation, I think the usually you throw away 100 of those scenarios because they never pan out. But this one, it was Tuesday around 4:30, and there's a couple guys in the room, and I got off the phone with David Gettleman, and I said, guys, there's a chance this may really happen.
Wow.
And so it didn't come to fruition until after we had some more conversation, and then it came around finalization around 7:30, where it kind of sunk in that, you know what, you got yourself a number one receiver that can help your second-year quarterback propel him in his second season.
Right. So now, did the conversations, or was it even talked about a little bit when the Zeitler-Olivier Vernon contract or trade gets done? Was there anything brought up then, or was it that was kind of done and then this just came about in talks and furthering that along?
Well, I'm more of a compartmentalized thinker.
Okay.
I can't really multitask. I think my wife multitasks better than I do it in that regards. So what I do is I try to, you attack one trade, and then you just said, you know what, no harm, no foul. So Tuesday morning, I'd called David back, and I said, how about this possibility? And then you throw that scenario out there, and then we started having conversations the majority of the day.
So the prior week, there were rumors coming out of Cleveland that something would be going on, possibly with Odell Beckham Jr. At that time, there was nothing happening. Those rumors were just that, strictly rumors. Nothing was going on, no talks then?
No, it was rumors. I mean, the only thing that we were doing, because, we too, we listen and read things, and things come across my desk. So then, again, you plan on different scenarios. And, of course, we had already planned a couple different scenarios in case that one ever did come to fruition. And so we were prepared for it. I mean, that's kind of what you do. You have to do that in our line of work.
Right. All right. So take us into Odell Beckham Jr. now. Just, your evaluation of him and just all the things you liked about him to make the move.
I think his talent speaks for itself on the field.
Yeah.
Very rarely do you get to acquire a man of 26 years old that still has extended years on his contract left. Then you mix in the passion, and then you mix in the competitiveness. And then all of a sudden, one of his best friends is on your team, and all of a sudden, his college and former pro receiver coach is on your staff. And I'm excited for the direction, what he brings for us and the direction we're headed offensively.
Yeah.
How hard was it to make the first move, though? Because there's that thinking that the one who calls first is not operating from a position of strength. Were you kind of hoping that maybe Dave Gettleman would call you? I mean, what causes you to finally pick up the phone and reach out to Gettleman and say, let's talk about this possibility?
No harm, no foul. Why not do it? So we did. I think Dave and I's relationship spans back to 30-some years here now. So he understands my makeup. I understand David. So when you have relationships like that, it's easy to, have very direct conversations and say, okay, I mean, really, what? So we just had very frank and very direct conversation. There was no him and han, and sometimes you can him and han in these types of deals, and they could drag on for weeks. But when you have two people where two organizations are talking with each other, and each side is going to be better for the trades, why not attempt to do it?
How about Odell Beckham Jr., he's such a handful. Oh, my gosh. We're defenders of him. We constantly talk about, we never hear anything bad out of the locker room in New York. The players love him. We see the passion that you mentioned. How do you kind of do your due diligence there in the process?
Well, I think you do your research, and I think we know enough people, not only in pro football, but in college football as well, to get a vast understanding of what this person's all about. I've said this a lot. You can't have enough passionate, competitive guys on your football team. And here's a guy that shows up, loves the game of football. His teammates love him. And so to me, that that speaks volumes when your teammates begin to rave about you, because that shows the mark of who this person really is.
Right.
Did you specifically speak to Jarvis Landry, his former LSU teammate, about Odell Beckham?
I've talked to him afterwards, but I didn't talk to him before.
Now, some will say, okay, the Steelers give up Antonio Brown for a third-round pick and a fifth-round pick. Why so much more for Odell Beckham Jr.? Why a first-round pick, a third-round pick, and a guy who was a first-round pick?
I think you did good, just so you know. I think it should have been more. You won this one, just so you know.
But it happens at a time when Antonio Brown went for a 3 and a 5.
Antonio Brown's 31 years old,
right.
okay? This Odell is 26. He's 26 years old. There's a big differential. I mean, he's right there at the prime of his position. And that's why you're willing, because I just watch him play the game of football, and I know what we as an organization were willing to give up for a compensation standpoint to acquire a player of this magnitude.
Did you talk to the Giants at all last year before they signed him to the long-term contract at any point from March until August?
No, I saw Dave Gettleman here at the owners' meeting about this time last year, but we never talked whatsoever about this.
When you have a quarterback like Baker Mayfield, who's passed all the tests to this point, seems like he's got great personality and charisma, does that give you more confidence in this scenario to go, my quarterback can handle another personality at the receiver position?
No, I mean, Baker's got a strong personality. I've said that he is mature beyond his age where he sits right now. And I think he understands. He's very comfortable in his own skin.
Right.
And what you have to do when you have a quarterback like that, it's our responsibility to make sure you get playmakers to let him flourish and develop his skill set for truly what it is, and let him put that on display.
Right. You mentioned the contract situation with Odell Beckham Jr. He's got 5 years left. I think it's around $74 million. There's already been a report from NFL Network, though, that he'd like to get a restructuring. At what point are you bracing for Odell Beckham Jr.'s representative to say, hey, you didn't have to pay the $21 million up front. The Giants did. We'd like a sweetener like Antonio Brown got.
I don't think it's a brace. I think right now there's X amount of years of guarantee still left on that contract. But what I want to do is I want to sit down face to face and just, let's talk about this. Let's talk about who you are. Let's talk about who the Cleveland Browns are, and let's move this thing forward in a positive direction. That's what I look at.
Okay, I mean, I'm your biggest fan right now. I just hope you know this, all right? And I'm gonna sit here and call you Buddy Boy. Hey, Buddy Boy. Hey, Buddy Boy. Do you know who Thanos is? Do you know the Avengers? Do you know the Avengers movies, right, with Iron Man and all that? I don't expect you to know.
It's not ringing a bell.
No, it's not ringing a bell.
But it didn't for me either.
I know, don't worry. But this is if you could see the screen there in front of you.
There it is.
He's got a big chin.
His chin is a little bigger than yours, so I'm not.
His head's bigger than mine, too,
But still, I was calling you Thanos on the day because he
Might
is
help me out
taking
here.
over the universe.
It's a good thing.
It's a good thing. It is a good thing, I promise. Don't
This
worry.
is a generational gap.
I know.
I was him at the Hula Bowl. He doesn't even remember that. I scouted him at the Hula Bowl.
What were your notes on him?
Huh?
What were your notes?
Okay, big hands. He has big hands.
He shook
could
my
swing
hand
the ball.
before, and he just goes, "Oh, those are 11-inch hands right there." That's what a scout does right there. He was all over it.
He was good.
But this was all respect, and then the Thanos thing that I bring
I
it up just
appreciate
because he was aggressive to overcome the Avengers, and you're being aggressive to overcome the AFC
I
North.
apologize for not knowing who Thanos is.
No, you should.
I didn't either, and I wish I hadn't found out. Frankly, he's been talking about it the last 3 weeks.
Maybe we could find a superhero that fits him appropriately.
I don't know if there's anything super about me, so good luck with that
I don't know. Aquaman, because you look like you just came out of the ocean. I don't know. The Browns now.
Yes, sir.
Over the past year, I can't recall a franchise that has gone from more overlooked to now the center of attention, primetime games, who knows how many 4 or 5 are coming. Are you ready is the team ready for this spotlight that is going to be shining in a positive way, but there's also going to be expectations to live up to?
That's why you play the game of football. I mean, there's challenges every year in the game of football. I think it's better to be in this position than the position 2 years ago. I think that's what you want, is you want growth. You want guys to understand that the organization will do anything in its power to help you achieve success. And that starts with leadership, and that starts with Dee and Jimmy Haslam. And they've supplied the resources for this. Now it's our job to go out and execute a plan that we say, you know what, maybe this can work. But it doesn't start. It starts in one place. It starts with those guys down in that locker room. And those guys got to set the bar high. And that's going to be under the direction of Freddie Kitchens, and I have complete faith in Freddie.
Right. Well, that's where I wanted to go next anyways. Just what was it that you saw in Freddie this year when he took over as interim coach that gave you the confidence to go ahead and make him the guy?
Well, it's first off, it's his resume basically was 8 games.
Right.
And there's no better thing than have a 8-game resume on display. And what happened is you saw a group of young men on the offensive side of the ball come together and believe, with this offensive, philosophically what they were trying to do on offense.
Right.
But what happens is you see a group of guys come together on that side of the ball, and I'm going, you know what? There's something to him because he's consistent day in and day out. He will hold players accountable. He's very trustworthy. He buys in with the players, and he'll sit and listen to the players.
Yeah, right.
When did you get to Green Bay?
1984.
Okay. My first reaction to the Odell Beckham Jr. trade, even though the circumstances were different.
I was going to say Reggie White.
I felt like it was Reggie. I feel like it's Reggie White. That was the first thing I said when the rumor came up the week before.
Right.
That if this happens, this is Reggie White to Green Bay. This legitimizes Cleveland. It puts the team on path for an eventual championship. Did you feel that at all? Getting a guy like OBJ, does it feel like Reggie White?
No, actually, what I felt after the thing is I say, congratulations, guys. Now it's time to move on to the next task at hand because we're 3rd place in the AFC North. We're 7-8-1 last year. Let's go to work here, okay? And we have a lot more pieces to fill to move this thing forward. Expectations, that's okay. Don't be scared of expectations. There comes a point here where, the men in that locker room, sometimes you have to dare to be great every once in a while, like I tell them. So why not be great? Why not take a shot at it and do it the right way?
Yeah.
Are you able to go out in public in Cleveland now?
Yeah, I go every day.
But do you like get 2 bites of a meal before somebody comes over to you?
Listen, whenever I go out in public, which is not very often, it's always with Catherine, Jack, and Trisha, and we're having a family meal, and people will come up and say hi. But I'm used to growing up in a small town, so you're always sitting talking to people. So I'm used to people.
Oh, there's going to be plenty of people talking to you now in Cleveland. They love what you're doing.
It's a great football town, though. It really is. I've embraced the months, basically a year and a half since I've been here, and I understand now. You understand the relevance of the Cleveland Browns because I found this out in 1920. If we're going to talk about 100 years of NFL football, when the 11 original clubs, were signed in the NFL, 5 of them were from Ohio. So it shows you the importance of football in northeastern Ohio, which I think is really cool.
No doubt.
Well, it's cool what you're doing. And
really cool.
We congratulate
my son. I told him, and my son, Philip Sims, he's a Browns fan. He left the Giants.
I'm going to get Mike here pretty soon.
My niece is a huge Browns fan, and during the 0-16 season, she came that close to giving up, but she ultimately said, I can't. I have to stick with it. She can come to training
camp. Tell her she's my guest to come to training camp.
Oh, yeah, she'll take you up on it. You won't be able to get rid of her.
No,
she's there.
Tell her, come on.
All right, John. Hey, we love having you, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Congratulations again, and all the best moving forward.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.